What's up guys, Eric Bray, Focus Fishing Guide Service, Table Rock Fishing Intel. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock. It is Wednesday, September 22nd. A couple of full days plus some other stuff going on. Wasn't able to get this done yesterday, so we're gonna knock it out today. I am in my garage today instead of on the water. Finally got a day off after a while, but figured I'd go ahead and knock this out for you guys. Been on the water pretty much every day for the last week, and gosh, it seems like more than that, probably the last 2 weeks. But finally got a day off, gonna get this thing done for you guys. As far as our lake level is concerned, we are at 915.42, so about 1.5 feet below normal summer pool. All the lakes are at or below normal pool right now, so basically the only time they're running water is just to generate some power. They don't have any floods, any high water we're dealing with. We got a little bit of rain. I guess we got almost an inch of rain overnight Monday night, but it looks like pretty much most of that just soaked in. Doesn't look like any of that stuff really made any runoff to speak of at the lake. At least I didn't see any yesterday. Water temperature, it is cooling off pretty quick. We're seeing for the most part 79 to about 83, even in the afternoon on a sunny hot day. I'm not seeing a whole lot higher than 82, 83. The rivers are cooling off pretty quick overnight, especially, you know, we were in the 40s last night, so water is definitely going to be cooler, which is a good thing. Should get the fish moving, should get things changing, getting them out of that deeper water. And it has changed the bite. It's made things a little bit different, a little bit more difficult, but in the long term it should make it better. But best way to stay on top of that, best way to know what's going on, every week, every day, anytime you're going out there, become a pro member, Table Rock Fishing Intel. Get all that daily, weekly, monthly reports, get all that information so you know before you go what the best patterns are to catch fish on Table Rock. But if you're coming down, gonna fish the lower end of the lake, the lower end's starting to turn on a little bit. Drop shot bite is probably still the best bite we've got going on down there. Catch them on a shad shape, cut tail, UV drop shot worm, most of them on those gravel runouts. Have been catching a few out of the trees. Had a couple of good days out of the trees last week where catching the fish around 20 to 25 over deep trees and 50 to 60 foot of water. So that bite's still going on. The dock bite seems to be going away, not really catching as many off of the dock cables as we were, say, 2, 3, 4 weeks ago. And then the gravel points. There's a lot of fish coming off of gravel points, but it's kind of a mixed bag out there. You'll catch some spots and some smallmouth out there, but you'll catch a few walleye, and we even had a catfish on a plastic worm this week. So, I mean, there's a lot of different things going on out there when you're fishing deep. Swim bait bite has been okay, not as good as it was 2 or 3 weeks ago, so not really catching them as well on the swim bait, but the football jig bite is starting to turn on, especially on the peewee football jig. On those gravel and rock mix main lake points have really been best. The thing I can tell you is if you catch 1 or 2 fish off of a point, fish it thoroughly, because it seems like when we catch 1 or 2 fish, there's a group of fish there. If you pull up on a point and you're not getting bit, you make several casts on it and you don't get a bite, chances are those fish haven't moved up yet. But when you find the fish have moved up, they really seem to be moving up in groups. Especially on that peewee football jig. Bass Whacker's been a real good color. Hail Mary's been a real good color, matching it up with the little peewee Versa Craw. That really seems to be the key to catching those fish right now. Go up in the mid-lake area, same bites are going on, but you can add a topwater bite to that. The topwater bite's been a little bit hit and miss, as the best thing I can tell you. You know, some days you'll find these fish up shallow, feeding on bluegill, feeding on shad and whatnot, but other days you'll hit the same spots or hit similar spots and you can't get a bite. But there have been some fish coming on top water on a whopper plopper or on a spook. Whopper plopper seems to be the fall whopper plopper bite seems like it's just right around the corner, and we did catch a few on a whopper plopper this week, the bigger one, not the small one. Then the swim bait bite's been pretty strong as well. You know, again, the Kitech 2.8 on a jewel, Gem Shad 2.0, swimming it around trees, swimming it on flats. We had a couple of good windy days this week, and we caught some throwing that swim bait on the flats, so keep that in mind. And then the football jig bite. The football jig bite's really good in the mid-lake area on those gravel points, gravel flats, and it's kind of the same deal. Most of these fish are coming early, 6 to 10 foot deep. Sun comes up, they'll back out and be 10 to 15 foot deep. But if you find that you're catching a couple of fish on a point, fish it very thoroughly, because it seems like they're moving up in groups and moving back in groups. So keep that in mind. Pee-wee football jig, pro spider jig are both working. Bass whacker, Hail Mary, Okeechobee blue, good colors on all those right there. Go up in the James River, fished the James River last week. Had a pretty good morning up there. Basically catch them on either a jig or a topwater. Caught them on a topwater early, either the whopper plopper or the chopo or on a buzzbait. Most of those fish came out of the backs of the creeks, about halfway, well, 3/4 of the way back, all the way to the very back. Not a lot of big fish, but a lot of keepers around cover, you know, wood, rock, something like that. If there's something different on the bank, that's where those fish were coming from. As the sun came up, we switched up and started throwing a combination of the pee-wee football jig and pro spider jig on some chunk rock and gravel mixed points up there, mostly main lake points. Caught them anywhere from about 6 to 10 foot deep. And they were pretty aggressive, I mean, we had a lot of numbers, but I think we only had like 5 or 6 keepers. Nothing really big, maybe a 3-pounder mixed in, but you know, a decent jig bite. And again, that should get better as time goes on. It seems like that big worm bite's going away a little bit with this water cooling down. We did fish some brush piles with a big worm. Caught a couple of fish, but not near the number of bites I expected fishing up there in those brush piles. Go up in the White River, same sort of deal. You can catch them on a drop shot still if you want to go fish treetops or fish the gravel points, shad shape, cut tail, typical stuff. Treetop fish around 20 to 25. Fish on the gravel points 25 to 30. You can catch them on a swim bait, especially on a windy day. You know, windy day was, you know, hitting a gravel point. You can catch several fish throwing a 2.8 or a 3.3. Basically throwing it out, counting it down about a 5 to 7 count and reeling it back in. Catching a lot of fish doing that. Best bite up there though is definitely on a jig, either the pee-wee football jig or the pro spider jig. Gravel points, 6 to 10 foot early, 10 to 15 feet once the sun comes up. Work it slow. You catch a couple of fish off a point, work that point over, because it really seems like these fish are moving up in groups and moving back in groups. So it's kind of a hit and miss scenario, but that bite should be getting better as well as the water cools off. Guys, we are almost through September, which is crazy. I guess it's October. Not next week, but the following week. No, I guess it is next week. But bite is getting better. We are definitely catching more fish on every trip, and we're catching them shallower, which is great. Best way to stay on top of that, best way to know what's going on, best way to know how you're going to catch them, or the best opportunities for you to catch them is to join Table Rock Fishing Intel. Get all these reports, get all this information so you know before you go how you're going to catch your fish. Check it out, tablerockfishingintel.com. But if you're coming down, want to hire a guide, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743 or hit my website, focusfishing.com, and either shoot me an email or book online. Either way, I get back to you as soon as I can. Guys, thanks for watching the videos. You got a minute, check out Table Rock Fishing Intel. But thanks for watching. Can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.